Greetings, everyone. This is Russell Rucker. I'm here for another constitutional talk. Good morning. We had been talking previously, quite a few months back, about the Pinckney Plan, and we kind of went through the Pinckney Plan. And I think it was last month we went through the New Jersey Plan. You still have the Virginia Plan that we haven't discussed, and that's primarily what they were working off of. When the Constitutional Convention was called, it was to fix the Articles of Confederation. It was to produce resolutions that would become amendments, to amend the Articles of Confederation. It wasn't meant for a whole new document, but that's what did come out of the Constitutional Convention. After the New Jersey Plan was read, Hamilton of New York was not happy with any of the plans, and he took to the floor and he made a lengthy speech, and he told us what he wanted, but by his own admission it wasn't really a plan. So Hamilton's no plan, I guess. But I'll go through it a little bit, as it's spelled out in the records of the convention. Okay, so item 1, 2 branches, the Assembly and the Senate, in the legislative body. The Assembly would be elected by the people for a 3-year term. The third item, a Senate elected by people to serve during good behavior. And the problem that I have with this is good behavior means pretty much life. Okay, so you have a Senate that's elected for life. The Senate is to be divided into 11 districts, and you would have 1 senator for each district. So if the senator that you had died or retired, then they would hold an election for that 1 spot. Otherwise, you would have no elections of the Senate. The fourth item, the Supreme Executive to serve during good behavior. And who's the Supreme Executive? Well, he's your president, basically. So he serves for good behavior too, in other words, for life. And on the fifth item, in case of death, deputies of the Supreme Executive to filled by the President of the Senate. So if your Supreme Executive were to pass away, the President of the Senate would step in for a time until an election could be called. So we get to the 6th item. The Senate would have power to declare war, approve treaties, appointment of officers, except for 3 departments, and those departments are the Finance, War, and Foreign Affairs. When you get to the 7th item, judges to serve for good behavior. So what do we have here? We have the senators being elected for good behavior, the president, basically, the executive for good behavior, and the judges for good behavior. So really the only vote you're going to have is in the Assembly, which today would be referred to as the House of Representatives, but that's how he had listed it. Okay. The legislature would appoint the state courts. So you wouldn't have a choice in your state courts either. Even your governor or legislature of the state wouldn't have the right to appoint state court officers. Okay, so we get up to the 9th. All offices of the United States to be liable for impeachment for malpractice and corruption. An impeachment trial would be held with your main judicial officer in a Supreme Court. So then we get to the 10th item. All state laws voided if in conflict with national laws. So if the national government wrote a law that violated state laws, the states would just be voided. The governor or president of each state would be appointed by the general government. And that only general government you're going to have to appoint would be the legislature. So the legislature, the national legislature, or general government, as they refer it to, really has a lot of power in this system. So then we get to the 11th. No state to have armed forces, and the militia of that state would be controlled by the general government. So once again, there's a lot of power going back to the legislature. But these were just really random ideas that Alexander Hamilton had for a new government. He wasn't happy with the New Jersey plan, and he wasn't happy with the Virginia plan. Patterson produced the New Jersey plan. Randolph read into the record the Virginia plan. And then you had Charles Pinckney. So all these people were integrally involved in trying to set up a government and discussing and bringing actual plans in. And I think that's what's important, the whole idea of plans coming into the convention and what we wound up coming up with. And all these different ideas were part of the reason it took so long. You know, well over 2 months was spent trying to argue over the legislative branch. There was a lot of disagreement. Some wanted one branch. They thought it was ridiculous to have two. They thought two was just inserting a fight in amongst each other between the two branches of the legislature. So, I mean, today we talk about three branches, the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch. But here they're talking about two branches inside of the legislature, which really is what we have today. But some wanted both to be elected by a popular vote. Some wanted just, in fact, in the beginning, the legislature of the states chose your senators. It wasn't until later when we had a new amendment that came in and changed all that. But they were spending a lot of time discussing exactly how the legislature would be formed. And so we spent a lot of different times arguing about these plans. We set them side by side in the Constitutional Convention so that we could compare them. Just thought you'd like a little more insight on the plans in the convention. I hope you have a good day. I hope you got something from this, and have a good day. This is Russell Rucker in for Constitutional Talks. Have a good day. Bye.